Everything looked normal in my relationship, but one midnight discovery revealed a secret I was never supposed to find, and it changed everything. "Hey, Reddit, what the hell is this?" I shouted, my voice echoing through the darkened living room as I held up the crumpled piece of paper I'd just pulled from the back of her nightstand drawer. She froze in the doorway, her eyes widening like she'd been caught in a spotlight. "Give that back," she hissed, lunging forward with a desperation that twisted her face into something unrecognizable. But I yanked it away, my heart pounding so hard I could feel it in my throat. This wasn't just a note. It was a betrayal that hit like a gut punch, shifting everything in an instant. If I confronted her now, I could lose it all. The home we'd built, the life we'd shared for decades, the trust that had been the foundation of our world. One wrong word, and this could spiral into divorce, lawyers, splitting assets, maybe even losing touch with the kids if things got ugly. The stakes were sky high. This secret felt like a bomb that could blow up everything I'd ever known. I'm 49, married for 22 years, living in a quiet suburban neighborhood where the biggest drama used to be whose lawn was greener. Our house was the kind with a white picket fence, a garage full of forgotten hobbies, and walls lined with photos of family vacations that now seemed like lies. I stared at the paper in my trembling hands, the words blurring as my mind raced. It was a receipt, dated just last week, from a hotel downtown. Not just any hotel, the one with the reputation for discretion, the kind people whispered about in hushed tones. And it wasn't in my name. It was hers, paid in cash, with a room number scribbled in the margin like a secret code. She stood there, breathing heavily, her hands clenched into fists. "You had no right to snoop," she spat, her voice low and venomous. "That's private." "Private?" I echoed, my voice cracking. "We're married, for God's sake. What could be so private that you hide it like this?" She didn't answer right away. Instead, she turned and walked into the kitchen, grabbing a glass of water with shaking hands. I followed, the receipt still clutched in my fist. The clock on the wall ticked loudly, 2:17 a.m. I'd woken up thirsty, gone to grab a drink, and something had drawn me to her side of the bed. A hunch, maybe, or just paranoia creeping in after months of her late nights and vague excuses. "Sit down," she said finally, her tone softening but not enough to mask the edge. "We need to talk." I sat at the kitchen table, the one where we'd shared countless meals, laughed over coffee, argued about bills. Now it felt like a battlefield. "Talk? About what?" "About why you're sneaking off to hotels." She sighed, rubbing her temples. "It's not what you think." "Then what is it?" I demanded, slamming the receipt on the table. "Because this looks like infidelity. Plain and simple." Her eyes met mine, and for a split second, I saw fear. Real fear. "It's complicated. I didn't want you to find out like this." "Find out what?" My voice rose, and I forced myself to lower it. The neighbors were close. I didn't need them hearing this. She took a deep breath, her fingers tracing the rim of her glass. "I've been seeing someone, but not for the reasons you think." I leaned back, the chair creaking under me. "Not for the reasons I think." "What other reason is there for booking a hotel room?" "It's not an affair," she insisted, but her eyes darted away. "It's therapy." "Sort of. Therapy in a hotel?" I scoffed. "Come on, that's the oldest excuse in the book." "No, listen." She leaned forward, her voice pleading. "I've been dealing with something. Something I couldn't tell you." "Not yet." I felt a knot in my stomach tighten. We'd always prided ourselves on being open, on sharing everything. Or so I'd thought. "What something? Is it about us?" She shook her head. "No, it's about me. My past. Things I buried a long time ago." I stared at her, the woman I'd loved since college, the mother of our 2 kids, now a stranger with secrets. "Your past? We've been together for 25 years. What could you possibly have buried that I don't know?" She hesitated, then stood up and paced the kitchen. "Remember when I told you about my ex from before we met? The one who was controlling?" "Yeah, I said slowly. You said he was abusive, and you left him. That's why you moved here. Well, it's more than that. She stopped pacing and faced me. He didn't just let me go. He threatened me. Said he'd find me if I ever tried to leave for good. My mind flashed back to the early days. She'd shown up in my life like a whirlwind, fresh from a bad breakup, eager to start over. I'd been her rock, her protector, or so I believed. But that was years ago. He's long gone, right? She nodded, but her expression was haunted. Or so I thought. A few months ago, I got a message. From him. Out of nowhere. A message? Like an email? Text. From a blocked number. He said he knew where I was, where we lived. He wanted money. Or else. I felt the blood drain from my face. Blackmail? Why didn't you tell me? Because I didn't want to drag you into it, she said, her voice breaking. I thought I could handle it. Pay him off and make it go away. But the hotel? I pressed. How does that fit? She sat back down, her hands covering her face. I met him there. To give him the money. It was the only way to keep it quiet, away from home. I processed that, my brain struggling to catch up. You met your ex? The abusive one? Alone? Yes, she whispered. He said if I brought anyone, he'd make things worse. For you, for the kids. The room spun a little. This wasn't just infidelity. It was danger. Real, tangible danger. Did he hurt you? No, she said quickly. But he scared me. He talked about old times, about how he owned me. I paid him $5,000 to leave us alone. $5,000. I repeated, glancing at the receipt. It matched. Where did you get that kind of money? From our savings, she admitted, looking ashamed. I took it out in cash. I was going to replace it, but what? I demanded. This is our money. Our future. I know, she said, tears welling up. I panicked. I thought it was the only way. I stood up, pacing now myself. The kitchen felt too small, too confining. You should have told me. We could have gone to the police, gotten a restraining order. He said he'd disappear if I paid, she countered. And he did. No more messages. For now, I muttered. But what if he comes back? What if this isn't over? She reached out, grabbing my hand. That's why I was going to tell you. Soon. I just needed to process it. I pulled away, the touch feeling foreign. Process it. You've been lying to me for months. Late nights, secret phone calls. I thought it was work stress. It was, she said softly. But not the kind you think. We sat in silence for a moment, the weight of it all pressing down. I thought about our life together, the good times, the vacations, the way she'd always been my partner in crime. But now, cracks were showing. Big ones. Show me the texts, I said finally. Prove this isn't some story. She hesitated, then pulled out her phone. They're deleted. I deleted them after the meeting. Of course, I said bitterly. Convenient. It's the truth, she insisted. You have to believe me. But belief wasn't easy. Not after this. I excused myself, saying I needed air, and stepped out onto the back porch. The night was cool, the stars indifferent above. I stared at the receipt again, crumpled in my pocket. Was this real? Or was there more? The next morning, I woke up on the couch, groggy and unrest. She was already up, making breakfast like nothing had happened. Pancakes, my favorite. But the smell turned my stomach. Morning, she said, her voice tentative. Coffee. I nodded, sitting at the table. We need to talk more. About what happens now. She set a mug in front of me. I know. I want to fix this. I love you. Do you? I asked, the question hanging heavy. Because love doesn't involve secrets like this. She sat across from me, her eyes red-rimmed. I was protecting you. Us. Protecting me by meeting a dangerous ex alone? I shook my head. That doesn't make sense. It does if you knew him, she said quietly. He was intense. Possessive. I didn't want him near our family. I thought back to the early years. She'd mentioned him in passing, but never in detail. Tell me about him. Really? She sighed, stirring her coffee. His name was Alex. We dated for 2 years before I met you. At first, he was charming. But then he got jealous. Over everything. My friends, my job. He'd check my phone, follow me. Once, he hit me. Not hard, but enough to scare me. Why didn't you leave sooner? I tried, she said. But he threatened suicide, said he'd kill himself if I left. I stayed out of guilt. Then I met you, and I ran. Changed my number, moved cities. I thought it was over. Until the text, I finished. Yeah, it was him. Same old threats. I know where you live. Pay up or else. And you believed him? I had to, she replied. He found me once. He could again. We ate in silence after that, the pancakes tasting like ash. I went to work that day, but my mind wasn't on it. I was a project manager at a construction firm, dealing with deadlines and blueprints. But all I could think about was her secret meetings, the money gone from our account. At lunch, I checked our joint savings. Sure enough, $5,000 was missing. Withdrawals and cash, no explanation. It stung. We'd been saving for a family trip, something to reconnect after the kids left for college. When I got home, she was in the living room, folding laundry. How was your day? She asked, like it was normal. Shitty, I said bluntly. I checked the account. The money's gone. She nodded. I'll pay it back. I have some freelance work coming in. Freelance? I echoed. Since when? Since I needed extra cash, she admitted. For this. I sat down heavily. This is insane. We need to report this to the police. No, she said sharply. If we do, it might escalate. He could come after us. Us. I repeated. Or just you. She looked hurt. Both of us. You're my husband. But I'm not the one with the past. I shot back. Maybe I should hire a private investigator. Verify your story. Her face paled. You don't trust me? Trust. I laughed bitterly. You hid this from me. Lied about where you were. How can I trust that? She stood up, tears in her eyes. I made a mistake. But I did it for us. For us, I muttered. Right. That night, I couldn't sleep. I lay awake, staring at the ceiling, replaying our conversation. Was she telling the truth? Or was there more to it? The hotel receipt nagged at me. Why cash? Why that specific hotel? The next day, I did something I regretted immediately. I drove to the hotel, showed the receipt at the front desk, and asked about the room. The clerk, a young guy, looked uncomfortable but checked the records. Yeah, that room was booked under her name, he said. But it was for 2 nights. And there was a man with her. Tall, dark hair. Paid for extras. Room service, minibar. I was scared, she sobbed. He had a gun. He showed it to me. A gun. I felt sick. Why didn't you say that? Because I didn't want you to worry, she said. Or hate me. I paced the room, my mind racing. This was getting darker. We need to go to the police now. This is serious. She nodded reluctantly. Okay, but promise me you'll be there. We went the next day. The officer took our statement, but without evidence. No texts, no witnesses. It was our word against his. They said they'd look into it, but it felt futile. Days turned into weeks. The tension in the house was palpable. We slept in separate rooms, communicated in short bursts. The kids noticed. Our daughter asked if we were fighting. I lied, said it was work stress. But the secret ate at me. I started digging deeper. I checked her phone when she was in the shower, nothing suspicious. Her email, clean. But then I found something in the garage. An old box hidden behind tools. Inside were letters. Love letters from Alex. Dated years ago, but one was recent. Postmarked last month. I confronted her with it. What's this? She froze. Where did you find that? In the garage. You kept his letters? I forgot about them, she stammered. They were from before. But this one is new, I said, holding it up. He sent it after the meeting? She snatched it. Yes, but it's just more threats. I read it aloud. I miss you. Come back to me, or I'll take what's mine. That's not just threats. That's obsession. She crumpled it. I know. That's why I paid him. But doubt crept in. Was she still in contact? Was this an affair disguised as blackmail? One night, I followed her. She said she was going to the store, but her car went to a park instead. She met a man there. Tall, dark hair. They talked intensely, then hugged. I drove home, heart pounding. When she got back, I was waiting. Who was that? I demanded. She looked startled. What? I followed you. The park. Who was the man? Her face drained of color. You followed me? Yes, I admitted. Because I don't trust you anymore. It was a friend, she said weakly. From work. Helping with the freelance. Bullshit, I said. It looked personal. She collapsed onto the couch. Fine. It was Alex. What? I exploded. You said he disappeared. He did, she said. But he contacted me again. Wants more money. And you met him without telling me. I was going to, she pleaded. But you were already so angry. This was the breaking point. Pack your bags, I said coldly. I can't do this. She stared at me, tears streaming. Please, don't. I love you. Love with secrets. I shook my head. No, we're done. She left that night, staying with a friend. The house felt empty, haunted by memories. The kids were devastated. Our son blamed me, our daughter her. Weeks later, the police called. They'd found Alex. He had a record, assault, stalking, but he denied everything. No gun, no threats, just her word. I hired a lawyer. Divorce proceedings started. It was messy, ugly. She wanted half. I fought for more. The savings were drained on legal fees. Months passed. I threw myself into work, avoided the house. Then, one day, she showed up. I need to talk. Why? I asked, standing in the doorway. I lied, she said, her voice breaking. About some things. My heart sank. What now? The hotel. It wasn't just blackmail. I slept with him. The words hit like a truck. You what? It was a mistake, she sobbed. He manipulated me. Said he'd leave if I did. I was weak. I slammed the door. But the damage was done. Everything changed. Trust shattered, love poisoned. Years later, I'm alone. The kids visit, but it's not the same. I look back and wonder, was it ever normal? Or was the secret always there, waiting to explode? The house is quiet now. Too quiet. I stare at the old photos, wondering how one midnight discovery could destroy it all. But it did. And there's no going back. Hashtag, 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 everything looked normal in my relationship, but one midnight discovery revealed a secret I was never supposed to find, and it changed everything. You can't just barge in here like this, she snapped, her voice cutting through the dim light of our bedroom as I stood there, phone in hand, the screen glowing with messages that weren't mine. I froze, the device feeling like a hot coal in my palm. Barge in. This is my house too. I shot back, my pulse racing as the power in the room shifted. She'd been the one in control for so long, but now I had the upper hand, and the shock on her face told me she knew it. If I pushed this, I could lose everything. The stability we'd built, the shared dreams of retirement, maybe even the respect of our friends who saw us as the perfect couple. The fallout would be irreversible: divorce, custody battles over the dog, splitting the life we'd woven together for decades. I'm 49, in a committed relationship for 18 years, living in a cozy apartment in the city where the nights are noisy but the days feel routine. I thrust the phone toward her, the evidence undeniable. Explain this. Now. She snatched it back, her cheeks flushing. It's not what it looks like. Not what it looks like. I echoed, my voice rising. These texts are from some guy named Derek. Can't wait to see you tonight. Same place. And photos? What? She hesitated, scrolling through the messages with frantic taps, her face a mask of panic. Those are old. From before we were serious. Old? I laughed bitterly, stepping closer. The timestamps say last week. And the photos, those aren't old. That's you. In that red dress I bought you for our anniversary. She shoved the phone into her pocket, backing away. Fine. It's complicated. Can we sit down? No, I said, blocking the door. Talk. Here. Now. She sighed, rubbing her temples. Derek is an ex. From way back. He reached out a few months ago. Said he was in town, wanted to catch up. Catch up, I repeated, incredulous. At midnight. with photos like that? It started innocent, she insisted, her voice pleading. Coffee, then dinner. He was going through a rough patch, divorce, job loss. I felt sorry for him. Sorry enough to send nudes? I demanded, the words tasting sour. She winced. It escalated. He was charming, like he used to be. I was lonely. You were always at work, buried in projects. Lonely, I echoed, feeling a stab. We've been together forever. You never said anything. Because I didn't want to burden you, she said softly. Your job stresses you out enough. I thought a little distraction wouldn't hurt. A distraction? My voice cracked. This is cheating. Plain and simple. It's not, she protested. We didn't, not fully. Just flirting. Kissing. I turned away, staring at the wall where our framed vacation photo hung. A beach trip from 5 years ago, both of us smiling. Flirting with an ex? Sending photos? That's a line you crossed. She reached for my arm, but I pulled away. I ended it. Last night. That's why the text stopped. Convenient, I muttered. How do I know you're not lying? Because I love you, she said, tears welling. This was a mistake. A stupid, reckless mistake. We stood in silence, the city noise outside filtering in, sirens, distant laughter. I thought about our life, the routines, the inside jokes, the way she'd always pack my lunch with notes. But now, cracks everywhere. Tell me about him, I said finally, sitting on the edge of the bed. This Derek. She sat beside me, careful not to touch. We dated in college. Freshman year. He was fun, adventurous. But he cheated on me with my roommate. I dumped him, moved on. Thought I'd never see him again. Until now, I finished. Yeah. He messaged on social media. Said he was sorry, wanted closure. I believed him. Closure that involves hotels? I asked, recalling the messages. One mentioned a room number. She blushed. We met at a bar. Things got heated. He suggested a hotel. I said no, but I was tempted. But you didn't go? No, she said firmly. I texted him to stop, deleted his number. I checked the phone again. Sure enough, the last message was hers. This ends now. Dated yesterday. Okay, I said, handing it back. But trust is broken. How do we fix this? We talk, she replied. Counseling. Whatever it takes. I nodded, but inside, doubt lingered. Was this the truth, or just the start? The next morning, I woke up first, the bed empty beside me. She was in the kitchen, brewing coffee. Morning, she said tentatively. Morning, I grunted, pouring a cup. We ate breakfast in awkward silence, the air thick with unspoken words. I went to work, a desk job at an insurance firm, crunching numbers, but my mind wandered. By lunch, I texted her, we need to talk more tonight. Her reply, okay, I love you. But when I got home, she wasn't there. A note on the counter, went for a walk. Be back soon. Hours passed. No call. I paced, worry turning to anger. At 8 p.m., my phone buzzed. Not her. A blocked number. She's with me. Don't look for her. Panic surged. I called the police, reported her missing. They took it seriously, adult disappearance, potential foul play. The officer asked questions. Any recent issues? Arguments. I hesitated, then spilled about the texts. Her ex Derek. They traced the number. Prepaid, untraceable. But they found her car parked near a motel on the outskirts. I drove there, heart in my throat. The clerk recognized her description. Room 12. Paid cash. I banged on the door. No answer. The manager let me in. She was there, alone, curled on the bed, crying. No Derek. What happened? I asked, rushing in. She looked up, startled. You found me. The police, I said. Who sent that text? I don't know, she sobbed. I came here to think. Clear my head. Then someone texted from a block number. Threats. Said if I didn't stay, they'd hurt you. Me? I repeated. Why? She shook her head. I think it's Derek. He must have followed me. The police arrived, questioned her. She stuck to her story, alone, scared. No sign of Derek. Back home, The tension escalated. "This is getting dangerous," I said. "We need to end this." "And what?" she asked, her eyes wide. "Us," I said bluntly. "If you're in danger, I can't risk it." She protested, begged, but I was resolute. We separated that week. She moved in with a friend. I stayed in the apartment. Weeks later, she called. "I found something. In my old emails. Derek's been stalking me for years." "Years?" I asked, skeptical. "Yes. Messages from fake accounts. Photos of me. He never let go." "Why now?" I pressed. "Because I rejected him again," she said. He snapped. I reported it to the police. They investigated, found Derek had a history, obsession with exes, restraining orders. But it was too late for us. The trust was gone. I filed for separation officially. Months passed. I dated casually, but nothing stuck. She reached out once. "I miss you. Can we try?" "No," I said. The secret changed everything. Now, alone at 50, I reflect. That midnight discovery wasn't just texts. It was a window into a life built on lies. Everything looked normal, but underneath, it was rotten. And once exposed, there was no fixing it. The apartment echoes with memories. I scroll through old photos, wondering if love was ever real. Probably not. Not with secrets like that. I sold the place last year, moved to a smaller one. Started fresh. But the scar remains. One discovery, and poof, everything gone. If I could go back, I'd confront sooner. But hindsight's a bitch. Now, I just live, one day at a time, knowing some doors close forever. The end. Or is it? Life goes on, but the drama? That's etched in.